Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I'm out here on the back porch and looking around and thinking about what all I want to do this year. I know that you see these empty flower pots, and I hopefully soon I will have some stuff in those and just have a beautiful, restful place. I have lots and lots of good memories of sitting on this back porch, as well as back porches of aunts and my granny and different ones. Some of them were actually front porches. But I have very fond memories of sitting on the porch and enjoying the weather. And sometimes it was just as cool outside as it was being in the house. And we could, get in a little bit of shade. And if there was a breeze blowing, we enjoyed hearing the birds sing. And I've got some pretty deep memories attached to sitting on the porch. I can't ever help it when I hear a chainsaw off in the distance, especially in the fall. I can remember all the times of being with my aunt, being with different ones when those chores were being done off in the distance, the fellas cutting wood, and we would always have something good cooking so that they could warm up when they come in from cutting wood. If it was nasty, sometimes it was nasty when they were out cutting wood, and that was a side job. A lot of times cutting wood and selling ricks of wood to other people, and so they were always busy doing that. Hearing dogs bark in the distance, it gets on a lot of people's nerves. I've heard a lot of people making YouTube videos, and they'll apologize for their neighbors' dogs or dogs that they hear off in the distance. And that really doesn't bother me because I've got memories attached to that with my dad and brothers going out and hunting, and remember hearing those coon dogs, and some of them had foxhounds or wolfhounds, as some of them call them, and be out way in the night, and you could hear those dogs barking and knowing that they were having a good old time. And I just begged and begged and begged to go one time with my stepdad and my brothers, and I wanted to go so bad. There's snow on the ground. It was one of those snows where it wasn't really nasty, and it wasn't like freezing cold. It was just a nice snow. It was probably 3 or 4 inches of snow, but it was really nice and pleasant, even though the snow was on the ground. And I just had to go. I begged to go, and we went, and we walked and walked and walked and walked, and I never thought I was going to get back home again. And it was way up in the wee hours of the morning before we got back home. First and only time that I begged to go hunting with the rest of them. I wanted to stay home after that, and there's no shame in that. That was not my thing. So hearing those dogs bark or the birds singing like they are now, I love it in the mornings when I hear the doves sing. And we have a lot of doves out here, and they actually have a dove season, and I have always told Howie and Blade, those are God's birds, because there's stories in the Bible that are tied to doves, and I'm always saying that. But anyway, or sitting out here early in the morning or late in the evening, just that sweet spot of time that you can smell honeysuckle this time of year. And it's happening now in early morning and late in the evening. Oh, it just smells so clean and so fresh. And I can remember going and standing at the honeysuckle and pulling the end of it and pulling that little tiny drop of nectar out, and my brothers and I would stand there forever and enjoy that. Is there something special about sitting on the back porch or front porch, side porch, whatever kind of porch you have? There's something special about it. And so I'm reclaiming the space, getting it back in order, and getting some pretty things out here to enjoy. Have a place that I can come and enjoy the peace, being out in the outside. I know that deeper into the summer we retreat to the cooler places, but this time of year, if there's a breeze blowing, and most of the time in Oklahoma there's a breeze, it's hot summertime, it's the breeze, it seems like the breeze cut off, but just occasional. And oh, you're always thankful. And I think about early in the mornings up in the garden, and a breeze will blow, and I always just kind of stand and just enjoy that breeze and thank the Lord for it. I feel like he just brings it along to say, here you go, my child, I'm giving you a little bit of reprieve. And so I've always enjoyed that. Now, I know that y'all can see this thing on my forehead. I've mentioned it a few times, but talking to you, I can see it in the camera, and it really looks magnified. I was talking to Cheyenne about it, and she told me, I was trying to explain it to her that it was not getting better. It seemed like it flares up every once in a while, and she thinks that maybe I've got psoriasis or something. I've never had that before, but it's just a place that just flares up, and it's a little bit, it doesn't hurt when you're not touching it. And you'd probably say, well, then quit touching it. But you know, if you touch it, it kind of almost feels like a sunburn. I don't know what it is, but I guess if this cream that I'm using now doesn't take care of it, I may have to go to the doctor and just see what's going on with it. I hate to do that, but I may have to, and just make sure that there's not something else going on that might be a problem. But I thought we'd have a little conversation today about some of our preparations. And we know that we all are putting stuff back, not because we're just wringing our hands and waiting for something bad to happen, but we want to be prepared in case it does happen, or life-changing event. We all know that those can happen at the drop of a hat. Whether it's worldwide or it's countrywide or statewide, citywide, or just in your family, you can be impacted. And so it's wise to prepare. That's what we always talk about, preparing. Number one, preparation always is knowing Jesus is our Lord and Savior and living for him. But after that, we have some things that it's just smart, it's just wise to have preparations. Nobody wants to need to feed a neighbor, a family member, somebody else that doesn't have anything, and go to your pantry and you have nothing to offer. I don't want to be that way. I've always felt like that. If you think about what do you have in your hand, I don't have a lot of cash in my hand, and I don't have silver and gold, and I don't have precious jewels, but I can put things up food-wise and make preparations and can and dehydrate and do all those things so that I can provide for my family and that I can share with others that might be in need. Same with them. And, thankfully, we're seeing a lot of people move back to that. They're getting in that mindset of, hey, maybe it is wise to make some preparation. But good and well that there are some that are kind of lax in that, and they need a little priming of the pump to get them involved in thinking about having those kind of things. I got to thinking about it today when I saw a post on Facebook for one of our local towns. And I'm sure that they have things around your area too, but around here, the different towns, there's a whole bunch. Like there's one or two spots in the county that are bigger, have more people, and then there's lots of little rural, just small towns. And at least in the few counties that the county I live in and the surrounding counties are kind of like that. We're just not a big metropolitan area. And there's lots of areas that people don't really have a whole lot, and they have what they call the food deserts, and they're places where there are people that are need some help. And so we have places, our churches, I've shared with you before about our blessing box, and other churches in the area all around have blessing boxes. And then we have organizations that do other things. We've got some charities that are pretty good to come out to over at Weber Falls. They come out there and they have a food giveaway to people that are in need. And there's a lot of people that take advantage of that. They really need it. Last year they had a surplus. I don't know where it came from, what town it came from, what area, location. It was here in Oklahoma, but there was a town or an organization that had apples, like the big cardboard boxes that you see at Walmart that has watermelon in it. You know, watermelons that you can go and buy. They had those boxes. Of course, it weren't watermelon boxes, it was apple boxes, and they had just a big long line of those boxes, and they told people that they could go and they could get apples, and I took advantage of that. That was one instance I didn't feel bad about going and getting apples, because they had plenty, and they were, you know, they needed to be used. So I went and got some, and I was able to make them into applesauce and just all kinds of, all kinds of apple products. I've seen today, and so they've been doing different things here recently. I've seen them giving away potatoes and onions and just different things that they had out offered to people, and they go pretty fast. And today I saw that they had they were giving away, they had big pallets of different kinds of beverages that they were giving away, and it wasn't soda pop. They had different kinds of, like there was a few energy drinks, and there was different kinds of electrolyte drinks, and they were even giving away cases of bottled water and different things that would be a very good thing for people to take advantage of if they were in need of that and weren't able to purchase it on their own, for them to go and to get some of that to put up in their pantry. So I got to thinking about beverages and having things to drink, and I was especially thinking about it because I ended up somehow, y'all, I could be on I Love Lucy. In fact, Howie used to say me and my sister were like Lucy and Ethel. But I pulled my refrigerator out and was cleaning and put it back, and a few days later realized that there was a hole in the water line. So I've got the water turned off to the back of my refrigerator, and you forget how convenient it is to go and get ice out of your freezer. And so I've been thinking about all this. I was like, boy, that's just an inconvenience. You know, when you want really cold water or cold iced tea or whatever it is, whatever the beverage is that you're wanting, you want it cold. It's inconvenient, you know, when your ice maker goes down. Of course, we've got ice trays and that kind of stuff, and you can get bagged ice. Those little ice companies are, it seems like, on every corner everywhere you go, where you can get bagged ice. You can go to Sonic and get bagged ice. Steady, set. You can go to Sonic and get bagged ice, and so just a little bit of inconvenience. I was thinking about what we would do, or what you would do, if all of a sudden the convenience was gone. We weren't able to have our ice makers making the ice for us. You turned on the faucet to get your water out of the faucet. It didn't work. You hadn't made preparation in your pantry. You hadn't done anything as far as catching rainwater, or maybe having a well, having a backup if your electric goes off and you need it for your well, or you're not having a spring or a creek or a way to clean the water if you got it out of the creek. What would you do? I think about water supply more so than I do food. Simply because I know the importance of having to have something to drink. You have to have water. You only last 3 days without water. And so it's important to think of ways to keep water and things on the shelf. Now, you may not like water. I know a lot of people that you never see them drink water. There are lots of ways that you can enhance the water so that you'll drink it. One, you can make coffee, you can make tea, all kinds of teas and all kinds of coffees, hot or cold, either one. You know, there are all kinds of those little drink packets that you can put in your water that would encourage your children to drink if they were in a high stress situation and needed the fluid. Having stuff like that on hand to encourage them to drink it, they're going to get their fluid in. You know, drinking plain water is a good habit to get into, a good fresh glass of water. But if you just cannot get them to drink it, you know, I would have some of those little little flavor packets in my lands. They come in every shape and size and sort and flavor and everything. Have some things that get them to drink. You can keep different herbs and things on hand that will change the flavor of your water. Meadow teas, and you can make different of your herbs will change up flavors. There's all kinds of mints that you can get. I love chocolate mint. I've never tried it in water, but I do have chocolate mint. I like to have the different mints, but I will tell you that regardless of whatever mint that you have on hand for your water, you need to put it in a place where you don't care if it takes over. If you do care about it taking over, then you need to make sure that you put it, when you put it in the ground, if you do put it in the ground, that you put it inside a container so that it can't shoot runners out, because it will, and you will have it everywhere. We put it in our flower bed that was around our propane tank, and it took over there, and which we didn't care. It was contained in that area, but it would grow out over the side of the how he made me barriers for my flower beds with native stones. This farm is full of native stones, and I love them. And he made he took and put that native stone all the way around the propane tank and made an area there. It's a boggy area, but that mint did not care, and it went crazy. And if it got out in the yard, Howie just mowed it. We have always been country kids, and we have never had just a perfectly manicured lawn, as in no nothing in it but grass. We've got clover, and we've got dandelions, and we've got purple dead nettle, and we've got henbit, and just all kinds of things, and it doesn't bother us at all. They just mow it. And we can remember as kids sitting down and making those crowns out of the clover and eating the sheepshire and all the different things, and so it doesn't bother us at all. But those kind of things brewed in your water can make a tea. Hibiscus can make transform water into a tea. And just keep those beverages flowing. We've already talked about staying hydrated. This time of year it's important all times of the year, but in the summertime especially, to stay hydrated. And if you just cannot get that water down, you might try adding some flavor enhancements. You can order those syrups that will flavor your water, and you can put it in other things too. If you have one of those Soda Streams or that. I don't like sparkling water, and I don't like sparkling juice or anything like. Now I do like soda pop. Doesn't bother me. I can drink it. I don't drink it. Try not to drink it. Occasionally I do. Sweet tea was my choice of beverage, but I can't have regular sweet tea anymore because it's just I can't have it. And so I've tried sparkling water, and there's just something about it that my tongue has an aversion to it, and it will not swallow it. My throat won't swallow it. So I just as soon have just plain water with the flavorings in it. And we also need to think about ways to clean and keep our water good with having some kind of filtration, especially if you're having to drink water from a body of water or off of your roof. It needs to be filtered, and it needs to be clean so that you're not ingesting something else that's going to cause you a problem, especially in times when things might be chaotic and super stressful. Of course, now it's easy for us to keep beverages. Most people will always have, you're going somewhere, they always have something that they're drinking. Everybody carries cups, and everybody carries tumblers, and it seems like a lot of people don't mind spending $4 or $5 or $6 on a coffee. I don't spend that because I just like black coffee. I don't like cream and sugar in it. I don't like it cold. The only time I drink cold coffee is if I let my coffee cup cool off and I got a big sip of it and it had been cooled off. But there's so many other things. There's, if you have access, should something happen and you have access to fresh milk, or you might want to keep powdered milk on the shelf. There are some brands that are better than other brands, just as far as how good it mixes up, how good it tastes when it's cold. And that's a personal preference. You might try. I wouldn't go and buy the big canisters, invest in those until you know for sure that your family's going to drink that, or at least use it in cooking when milk is called for. Keep some cartons of shelf-stable milk on the shelf, just for emergency. You might say, well, I don't really like the taste of it. But in an emergency situation, it would help you prepare your other things that get your liquid to you. Now, I know that this particular idea may be something that you kind of frown upon, but you might get in the habit on some of your items when you open them, particularly things like pineapple juice or something that's canned in its own juice. You might get to where you're saving some of those and freezing them in an ice cube tray and keeping them in the freezer, or doing other things with them so that you've got access to those, because that is the liquid that you could be getting, and using it in your cakes. Like if you were making a pineapple upside down cake, you could get some of those ice cubes or those pineapple juice cubes out of the freezer. But you could also do other things with it, and you'd be getting fluid to your family, and you'd be able to use those things that you could thaw and use as liquid in your recipes, and save your drinking water for that purpose, drinking. Know that you could, when you're canning tomatoes, I use a steam canner. And the first, like if I'm going to make tomato juice or something like that, the first thing is that tomato water comes off. When the first part of that is clear, or not clear, but the first part of it is like watery with just a little bit of tomato in it. And in years past, I hadn't even thought about it. I just poured it out. But you can actually save that and can it. And then when you're making soups and you need to add water, or chilies or whatever else, maybe right now that's not so important. But if you get in the habit of doing that, using that, then if something should happen and you happen to ration your drinking water, then you are already used to just going and getting your tomato water, or your chicken broth, or your beef broth, or ham broth, or vegetable broth, or onion broth, whatever kind of broths you're making. Those things they're on the shelf, and they're not going to be using your water stash. Same thing with your with making juices and things like that. So simple. They're going to have sugar in them, though. I suppose, I don't know how you would make sugar-free with the recipe that I'm going to tell you. And we've showed, Shine and I both have showed you before how to make juice with putting your grapes or your cranberries in your jar, and your sugar and the water, and steam bathing those for the appropriate amount of time, and you've got juice there. That's another option to have on your shelf, so that your family has got something if worst comes to worst. Fluids, keeping your fluids up is very important. If you can peaches, now I know that there's sugar. There are low sugar recipes, I realize that, but depending on if you make in their own juice, or canned in water, canned in apple juice, or another kind of juice, whether you do light syrup, heavy syrup, extra heavy syrup, whatever the case may be, you can save that syrup. Do the same thing. You could freeze it in ice cube trays after you've ate the fruit, if you want to. And those could go, you could drop one of those cubes or a couple of those cubes in a pitcher of water and flavor your water. You can also use those cucumber peelings and put them in water and let them steep in that water and have cucumber water. any oranges, lemons, limes, strawberries, all the different fruits. You can do that kind of stuff is with that as well. And you know, make a way to have those kind of things on your shelf. Now, I will tell you, flavor enhancers such as your the kids drinks, Kool-Aids, and Powerades, Tang, all of those, they last a long time on your shelf if you have them stored properly, for you to be able to change the flavor of the water for your family members. Now, those I have found that if you keep them for an extended period of time, you really need to put them in either a glass jar and seal them, or in a food saver bag and seal them, because they will get hard as a rock. And they've got sugar in them, and that moisture, those plastic containers, over time will draw moisture, and they'll turn into a big block. It's not that you can't take your meat tenderizer or a toothpick or a chopstick or something else and break them down, but if you can keep it from happening in the first place, and just by putting it in glass, then you can, you know, you can very easily measure it out and use it. You can make you can either buy from the store, or you can home make syrups to go in your waters, or to go in your tea, or to go in your coffee or your milk. It's just a huge variety of things that's going to help you to get fluids into your family. You don't want to let that be you don't want that to be another issue when you're in a high stress situation. You don't want having nothing to drink at all, or introducing bugs and parasites because you don't have a way of keeping your water clean. Storing coffee beans rather than ground coffee. Now, I have ground coffee, and I've had it for several years that I'm cycling through. Howie and I were big coffee drinkers, and so we had a bunch of coffee stored. And I haven't bought coffee since Howie's been gone, and he's been gone over 4 years now. But I've got a few canisters left, and I'll start putting coffee back again. But one of the things that we're going to do is more coffee beans, so that they store longer. Although I'm impressed by what the coffee grounds have done. Tea bags, the same way. You can store tea bags. You can store loose leaf tea. And then if you're growing your herbs and all of the things that you want to be able to enhance the flavors of your waters and teas and other electrolyte drinks, that's going to keep you healthy and keep you and help you when you're feeling stressed and you want a little break, or you just want to sit on your back porch and listen to the birds and reminisce about your day. So I hope I've given you guys some good ideas, some ways to think about having beverages staying cool and staying hydrated, making sure that if you don't like water, that you've got ways to enhance the water so that you will drink it. Now, if you've got any suggestions, any ideas, any ways that you are storing beverages, that you're storing water and coffee and tea and things like that, so that your family has a way to enhance those drinks, let us know. Share with us, and we might even give it a try and see if we like it. Just not sparkling water. So until next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you guys. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And until next time, we're gone.